Hey guys, it's me, Seren. Back with another video. This one will be much more calm than yesterday's. For all of you that saw that one, I was a little upset, I was a little emotional, but I slept on it. It's a new day, it's Friday, TGIF. And I feel ready to make a comprehensive video about this. I'm not going to focus on the thug racists, as I will be calling them from now on. This video instead is going to focus on coded language, because coded language seems to be something that's really perplexing a lot of people. And with this whole thug racist, kind of debacle, I see a lot of people saying, well, I don't understand what the issue is. I don't understand why this is automatically racist. I don't understand why cursing and using F-bombs, fuck and saying shit and motherfucker and things like that. I don't understand why that's racist. Oh, I didn't know that black people exclusively owned curse words. And, if you automatically think that thug means black, then you're the racist, all types of things. People don't seem to be making the connection between coded language and racism. This seems to be something that is really eluding a lot of people, so I wanted to make this video on coded language. And basically, coded language is language that over time has, kind of moved into slur territory. Coded language is a natural, really a natural part of language. And language is fluid, language has a lot of fluidity. Language is almost like a living, breathing thing in some regards. The way that people talked 10 years ago is not the way that we talk now. The way that people talked 100 years ago is not the way that people talk now. I mentioned in my other video, in the South and in the Midwest, they say pop, and in the North, we say soda. That's the nature of language. Words change, meanings change. And something that we're seeing now a lot with coded language is that as we've moved into this post-racial society and old slur terms have become, taboo to say, they've gone out of the norm, we've seen this rise of, these coded words, racially charged, that stand in for slur words and stand in for racial epithets. So, 40 or 50 years ago in the 60s, you could say nigga, you could say coon, you could say porch monkey, you could say spook, you could say jungle bunny, jigaboo, all these type of slur words for black people. Now this type of language is unacceptable. So what people have kind of done instead, since they can no longer say these words, these coded words have kind of made their way into our national vernacular. Words like thug, gangster, suspicious, urban. These are all code words for black. And black people are not the only ones that, kind of, I don't want to say deal with. That's not really the proper term, but I'll just use it. Black people are not really the only people that are dealing with, code words. I read a really great article the other day on Mic.com that said, can you speak gentrification? And it basically broke down all these different terms that realtors will use in terms of gentrification: good area, bad area, developing area. When I lived in New York, we used to make a joke all the time, like, oh, I live in a developing area. That meant the white people were moving in. It's now a developing area because white people are coming. That's coded language, right? Someone might hear developing area and they won't know what we're talking about. But we're talking about white people coming in, white hipsters coming in the area being gentrified, Realtors use that same thing. Oh, it's a developing area, They'll say that to, like, let's say they're showing two white people an apartment and the white people see that right next door there's a black person living there. And they might say something like, oh, we're not too sure about the neighbors. And the realtor might say, oh, don't worry about it. This is a developing area. They're having a conversation in code, right? That's coded language. And this is something that we've really seen a rise of with, you know, especially with the internet and the ability to start blogs and web pages and Instagram and stuff like that, urban has gotten really out of control. You know, during Fashion Week, everything was urban this, urban that, urban fabulous, because they don't want to say ghetto, because ghetto is too racialized, right? And even ghetto, that started out as a word that meant Jewish neighborhoods, right? But now ghetto has become racialized to the point where it means poor people and or black people, right? Ghetto fabulous. But they would never say ghetto fabulous. Instead, when they put, you know, baby hair slicked down and stuff like that and cornrows and these white models, they call it urban fabulous. Is urban all black people? Of course not. New York City is one of the most diverse cities in the world, and it is an urban area. All different types of people live there. However, urban youth has become a racialized term. It is coded language. It means black and Hispanic. And that's true. When I say urban youth, anyone watching this video, I guarantee you when I say urban youth, the image of a white kid does not pop into your head. And this is kind of like what I was talking about in my other videos about, you know, subconscious things that affect us on a subconscious level. Because if every time you turn on the TV or the news, you watch movies, you read books, and when urban youth are described, they show an image of a black person or a Hispanic, you know, black or brown body, you're immediately in your mind, you're going to start making connections, okay? Just like Pavlov's dog, right? He rang the bell and he would give him the food. Pretty soon he could ring the bell and the dog would still salivate because his brain made a connection between the bell and food. It's the same thing with coded language. If you tell someone enough that urban means black, their brain is going to make a connection between urban and black. If you tell someone enough that thug means black, they're going to make a connection between thug and black. If you tell someone enough that gangster means black, they're going to make a connection between gangster and black. Coded language. And the reason why the thug racists, what they did is so problematic, for anyone out there that still doesn't get it, is because they know this. That's why they remain anonymous for 2 years. I mistakenly said 2002 in my other video. That's how pissed off I was. Tumblr wasn't even around in 2002. They started their blog in 2012. So 2 years ago, they started their blog. And for 2 years, they were anonymous. They had an Instagram page, Facebook page, Twitter, Tumblr. You could find them all over the internet. Gwyneth Paltrow mentioned them, like I said. And no one knew who they were. No one knew what they looked like. They kept their identities completely a secret. They were 100% anonymous. Why? Because they knew. They knew what they were doing was offensive. They knew what they were doing was racist. They took the word thug, which is coded language, which is racially charged, and they paired it with a food blog that used, in addition to swearing, not just swearing, because it's not just the swearing that makes it racist. In addition to swearing, used African American vernacular, slang, colloquialisms, semantics, like all different types of Ebonics, you know, phrases, you know, things that we have associated with African Americans and black culture, and things that have been stereotypically linked to black people, and they put that on their blog and they called it Thug Kitchen. So basically, they ran a blog of literary blackface. I did not make up that term. I read it on Tumblr. Please don't think I made it up, because I didn't. It's an excellent term. Literary blackface basically means that they pretended to be black. And not only did they pretend to be black, instead of pretending to be black and actually doing research and actually doing it in a respectful manner, they mocked black people. So they ran their blog in the way that they personally feel black people talk and act, you know? In their minds, black women are all angry black women rolling their necks and rolling their eyes and snapping their fingers and saying, girl, I ain't got time for them strawberries. In their minds, that's what black people are. So they named their blog Thug Kitchen, and they ran their blog based off of stereotypes of what they believed black people do. If they had been doing a cooking show and they had been dressed up in blackface, talking and acting like this, it would be offensive. It would be racist, and it would be yanked. They did literary blackface. They literally elevated blackface to the point where they didn't even have to dress up. Like, it is insane. And they recently came out with a commercial for their book, because they do have a cookbook coming out, and they are going on a book tour. And in their commercial, which I'm not going to link, I'm going to put the do not link website in the description. So if you guys want to go to their site and see any of this stuff, please use do not link. Do not give them any hits. But they have a commercial for their book that's coming out. And in their commercial, they have not a single person of color, not a single black person, not a single Hispanic person. It's all a bunch of white people talking in this slang, black slang, African American vernacular, using our colloquialisms, using our phrasing. And, you know, clearly they're mocking black people. They're making fun of us. You know, it's a play on eating healthy versus being black. If it was just to be funny, why not put any black people in your commercial? Why is your commercial old white granny saying shit like, you know, Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, buy these fucking tomatoes, bitch? That's mocking. It's stereotype. You know, it's damn near satire. You know, these people are one step away from a Dave Chappelle skit, except they're 100% serious, you know, and it is so offensive. And people seem to be getting caught up on, you know, oh, well, if you say that you think thugs are black, that makes you the racist, and you're the one falling into stereotypes. First of all, I don't know when pointing out racism in others became racist, but y'all got it all wrong. Pointing out the problems of other people is not and will never be racist. There is no such thing as reverse racism, point blank, period. Maybe I'll make a video about that, but that's all I'm going to say about it right now. And making a connection between thug and gangster doesn't mean that, and I'm sorry, between thug and gangster and black people does not mean that you're a racist. It means you know, you're aware, like you know about coded language. I don't know how people are acting like they haven't heard of coded language, because coded language has been, especially recently within the last, 6 months to a year, such a big part of the national conversation, right? With the Mike Brown If They Gun Me Down campaign, that whole thing revolved around coded language and images and, things that they put out in the media and the internet. They put a picture of me holding up middle fingers and call me a thug, even though I'm a decorated member of the United States Navy, Coded language and image and appearance have been very important in the national conversation about race. Mike Brown was killed, and, Fox ran a whole piece saying, well, he was armed. He was armed with his big, scary self. It was easy to see him as a thug. That's coded language. It's racially charged, it's racist, and it's getting people killed, literally, John Crawford, oh, I saw a suspicious figure with a gun, he looks like a thug, he looks like a gangster, he's waving it around at people. You're saying that because he's black. You've already made those Pavlovian connections in your brain between thugs, gangsters, guns, and black men. The connection is there. The connection is there. And the people that run Thug Racist, okay, they know that those connections are there. They chose that title specifically. They ran their blog the way they ran it specifically to get attention. And this is another thing that is really, prevalent in our culture and American culture. When white people want to do something different, when they want to get noticed, because how many food blogs are out there right now, right? 1 million, 100 million, 1 billion, right? These people wanted to do something different. They wanted to get noticed. What do white people do when they want to do something different and edgy and cool, and when they want to get noticed? They utilize black mannerisms. They take our music, they dress like us, they style their hair like us. They want to do everything we're doing because to other white people, it's fresh, it's hip, it's urban, it's edgy, Miley Cyrus, cornrows, big butts. We've had so many recent examples of white people doing this, and this is just another example, utilizing colloquialisms, vernacular, and speech patterns associated with black people like slang and Ebonics and phrasing, along with coded language like thug and gangsta, keeping your faces a secret. You were crafting an image of a stereotypical black person. You were packaging it and you were selling it. And you're white. And that's blackface. Period. Dot. Okay? Like, this is nothing new, right? Like, it's not new, it's not cool, it's not cute, it's not funny, it's not clever, it's racist. And if you're okay with it, and if you don't see anything wrong with it, and if you think it's just funny and it's just jokes and oh, ha ha, he, shits and giggles, please Google coded language, look up Richard Sherman, the NFL player that had to actually give a press conference because after he did his post-game rant, so many letters and callers went in to, you know, his team saying, why is that thug playing? You know, look up the Fab Five, you know, college basketball players that wore gold chains and tall socks pulled up, you know, and they sagged their basketball shorts. They were winning. And yet people wanted their team disbanded and wanted them kicked off their college basketball team because they were thugs. Because they were playing thug-style basketball. They were not representing the college well. They were not representing the community well. We don't want these thugs playing our sport. We don't want these thugs in our communities. Google how the NYPD is kicking black kids out of Park Slope because they feel like they're thugs up to no good in their own community. They're telling them, you got to move along. There's no basketball courts around here. Okay? Coded language, racial slurs, you know, because thug and gangster are about 2 steps away from becoming slurs like nigga. Like, I'm pretty sure if a white person called me urban, a thug, or a gangster, I'd get fucking offended. You know, these are things that it's fast getting to the point where it is not okay to use them, because all you're doing is you're criminalizing black people and brown people. You're criminalizing black and brown bodies these people are doing it while making a profit. And they have people coming to their aid talking about, well, if you believe that all gangsters and thugs are black, then you're the problem. No, you're looking at this much of the picture, the corner, when the picture is really this big. You know, Google coded language, learn about racialized terms, learn about slur words, you know. That was also a big thing in the election. High income, low income, you know, use of words like high income and low income, high class and low class getting bandied around. And people knew what these people were talking about. They were talking about, you know, black people and white people. Oh, we didn't think that the low income vote would come out the way they came out. Oh, so you really didn't think that the niggas was gonna vote? That's just say what you're saying. Like, say what you're saying, but they can't say it anymore. In 2014, they can't say coon and nigga and porch monkey and jigaboo and spook. So they say urban, you know, gangsta, thug, suspicious, pants sagging, hoodie wearing, you know, those loud music blasting. That's where we are in our society. You can't, you know, even if you like their recipes, because I've heard their recipes are awesome, if they just wanted to drop F-bombs and be vegans, they could have called it the fucking vegan kitchen, bitch. They could have called it that. And I probably would have loved it, because I love a good curse word. Like, but no, they took it a step further, and it became obscene, and it became a mockery of an entire race of people that is being brutally gunned down and murdered in this country. Okay? Coded language is a big deal. Racial slurs are a big deal. These things are real. And you need to know about them. And if you're really confused about why people are upset, I will have some lovely links for you in the descriptor to please click on and educate yourselves. So with that being said, I hope this video was better than yesterday's. I know yesterday's was not my best video. Hopefully this one was much more calm and collected and comprehensive. And, you know, I hope you guys have a great weekend. This is dumb. These people are assholes. And I hope they get dropped. I hope their book does nothing. And I better not see them on Good Morning America cry next week about how everybody's ganging up on them. Because, man, I ain't got time for that. Thanks for watching. As always, food for thought. See you guys next week. Peace.